Hi, welcome to Adventure in Art. My name is Ben Staley, your resident talking head. I've made a few videos over the course of this channel about my inspirations, books I've read, movies I've seen, music that I like, things like that. I always had it in my mind that I would do more of that, and I feel like maybe I should have. Those videos never do very well. The algorithm doesn't pick them up, and it's not kind of what my audience is used to seeing, I guess. But listen, for me, as an artist, as a storyteller, as a creative person, my inspirations and the sources of inspiration that I have are, to me, sacred. It's fuel for your fire. It's fuel for your creativity, for your imagination, for inspiration. That stuff is so important to me. Music that I listen to, books that I read, films that I watch. So in this episode, I'm just going to talk about a couple recent things that have really impacted me in a big way, things that have stayed in my psyche, and I'm just going to share those things with you. So maybe this won't be a super long video. We'll just see how long-winded I get. I got on YouTube and this video popped up, and I didn't even know what it was. I just saw the thumbnail, and it was 2,000 miles to Andrevka. And I was like, well, that sounds interesting. What is that about? I didn't know anything, and I don't usually click on something if I don't know what it is. I just don't. There's just too much stuff out there. But I was just like, immediately, I need to see what this is. And I was, down in the living room watching TV. I was probably like eating breakfast or something, or eating dinner. Usually I'll put on a movie or put on YouTube. Well, I clicked on 2,000 miles to Andriivka, and right away saw that it's I think it was an hour and 45-minute film from the channel for the Associated Press, I think. I should have just looked this up before I started blabbing about it. Anyways, right away, I was completely gripped. And what this is it's a film. It's a feature film. And I actually only learned a couple days ago it's been shortlisted for Oscar nomination in the documentary category. And I'm just going to say this right up front. It's one of the most amazing pieces of storytelling I've ever seen in a visual medium. I think it's a horrific, gut-wrenching film. It's an amazing work of art and storytelling. So 2,000 miles to Andriivka, what it is it's about this little squad of Ukrainians trying to take back a village that the Russians have overtaken from them. And they have 2,000, it's not 2,000 miles. Did I say 2,000 miles? It's 2,000 meters. 2,000 meters to Andriivka. They have to cross through this narrow patch of, they call it a forest, but it's all these bombed out trees. I mean, it barely qualifies as a forest or with any cover or anything. They have to cross these 2,000 meters to get to this village, and they're going to try and take back this village. And, they're getting shelled, they're getting shot at, they're fighting the whole way. And there was some embedded journalists with them who were Ukrainians, I gather, and elected to take cameras instead of weapons. Many of the soldiers have GoPros on their helmets, so the story is told that way, and it's told through the journalists with their cameras. There's kind of a prologue to the film before this assault to take back the village, where it's really just this small group trying to exfil from the battlefield, like they're getting overrun and they're getting bombed, and there's this armored personnel carrier coming in trying to get them out, and they're getting shot up, and it's just like, it's harrowing. It's harrowing. It's like the most intimate, up close view of war maybe that I've almost ever seen in a documentary. So I'm not saying you should watch it. It's not for the faint of heart, and it shows everything. It shows everything. So over the course of this film, I watched it in 2 sittings. I was like halfway through it. I was maybe 2/3 of the way through, and then Danny came home, and I didn't want her to come in, and I'm right in the living room watching it, and it's like, you don't want to come in on this film halfway through, and I'm playing it, so I just turned it off, and I finished it a couple of days later, which I kind of needed a break from it. It's like, you guys, it's a brilliant film. I never was in the military. I've never been in combat. I have as a documentarian and working in television and doing different projects. I've been around some gnarly, gnarly stuff. I've seen people die right in front of me. I've seen horrible things. Haven't been in combat, haven't had people shooting at me. I have put on camouflage and painted my hands and face and belly crawled up to armed men with a camera. I've done that kind of stuff. It's scary. I haven't been in sustained combat, bullets coming at me, people shooting at me for minutes, hours, days, months, years. So that's a whole other level. These storytellers went in there and told this story and captured this little moment. And it's the way they tell the story, when they choose to cut out of the battle, well, they'll be talking to certain soldiers and then they will, in a very dry voiceover, tell you what the ultimate fate of these people are. And it's just, I can't stop thinking about the film. So I'll put a link to it below. It's on YouTube. It's shortlisted for an Oscar. I don't know what the other films are. I can't see how this thing couldn't win all the awards. It's incredible. The second thing I want to talk about is this YouTube channel that I started watching. It's pretty popular, but it's called Like Stories of Old. And so I just, one of those videos popped up on my YouTube and I started watching it. And then I was like, this is incredible. And then I just kind of went down the rabbit hole and just like watched them all. I actually haven't watched them all, but I've watched most of all the recent ones. Well, there was this semi-recent video called Movie Monologues That Radicalized My Moral Philosophy. And it had a picture of Tommy Lee Jones on the thumbnail from No Country for Old Men. And No Country for Old Men is one of my favorite movies of all time. If not my very favorite movie of all time. I love that movie. And if you watch the channel, if you are a serious diehard and you've watched some of my other inspiration videos, you'll know that I'm a big, massive fan of Cormac McCarthy. He's a huge source of inspiration for me across all things. And so I'm like, well, I got to watch this. And this guy actually he tells the story of No Country for Old Men and then reading the book and then how the difference between the book and the movie are and things that were left out, things that were left in and why. And it's funny because I've had the book for well over a decade, but I only read it, I think last year or maybe the year before. And I kind of went through that same thing of just like, oh, well, here's some scenes that fill it out. They're nothing they don't change anything about the movie. Those scenes could still fit within the movie and the movie's universe. But obviously they just kept them out. And the movie is so tight and lean and amazing. It's just, it's freaking brilliant. So I was watching this and then they start talking about Cormac McCarthy and then they start talking about some of his other books and they talk about The Counselor, which I keep thinking I need to revisit. I actually own a copy of the screenplay, meaning I bought it on iBooks so I could have a copy of the screenplay. And I bought the screenplay before I even saw the movie. I saw the movie in the theaters. I've only seen it once, but I returned to the screenplay a lot. And there's this one scene that I read it a couple times a year because it just impacted me so much. And this video that I'm talking about, it references this very scene, but it's not referencing the screenplay, it's referencing the movie, which was directed by Ridley Scott. And I think the movie was not a real commercial success. It's very, very dark. I'm a big fan of Ridley Scott. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. And then so him doing a Cormac McCarthy original script that's not based on a book or anything, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? The movie didn't land on me super hard. It made an impression. I do want to revisit it because it's been a number of years now. But I'm going to read you portions of this scene because since we're kind of talking about the darkness, this is just some writing that really, really has impacted me. This is late in the movie and all these things have happened and the counselor, who's this lawyer who's made some choices and done some things and bad things have happened. He's made some mistakes and he gets on the phone with this cartel boss, Jefe, as he's called in the screenplay. And he's pleading with Jefe to make things right. The counselor says, and this is written in, this is a screenplay, so it's in screenplay. Actually, it's not really in screenplay format. It's kind of in book format, but it is a screenplay. Counselor says, "Will you help me?" Jefe says, "I would urge you to see the truth of your situation, counselor. That is my advice. It is not for me to say what you should have done or not done. I only know that the world in which you seek to undo your mistakes is not the world in which they were made. You are at a cross in the road, and here you think to choose. But here there is no choosing, there's only accepting. The choosing was done long ago. Cormac just wrote about these crossroads, about people making choices and going down these paths that take them places that they never could have imagined or foreseen. And then realizing that there's no going back. That's what No Country for Old Men is kind of about. You know, Llewellyn makes this choice, and he takes this money and he goes on the run, and once he's set wheels in motion, there's nothing he can do about it. My favorite book of Cormac's is called The Crossing. And it's about this young boy in rural Texas on the border of Mexico. And there's a wolf that's eating the cattle on his farm. He's like a 14-year-old boy or something. He's a young teenager. And him and his dad set out to trap this wolf. Well, the boy comes across one of the traps one day and it's caught the wolf. And the wolf is pregnant. He says it's a female wolf. So he's like, he doesn't want to kill the wolf. The wolf's pregnant, and he just is overcome with compassion. And he decides to take the wolf and take it deep into Mexico and turn it loose so that it'll be so far away that it won't ever come back and eat the family's cattle again. So he makes this choice. And this sets in motion a series of events that will forever change his life. And in fact, that story finishes, it goes through that whole book, and then there's a whole other book about his life later on in life, like many years later. And I have that screenplay, which is Cities of the Plain. I think it's on here too. And there's scenes in that book passages in that book that I read a lot because they really affected me. But I'm going to continue with the very last thing that Jefe says to Counselor here. And this is the thing that I read this a lot, and it's really made an impact on me. The Counselor says, "You said I was that man at that crossing." Jefe says, "Yes, at the understanding that life will not take you back. I have no wish to paint the world in colors more somber than those it wears, but as the world gives way to darkness, it becomes more and more difficult to dismiss the understanding that the world is in fact oneself. It is a thing which you have created, no more, no less. And when you cease to be, so will the world. There will be other worlds, of course, but they are the worlds of other men, and your understanding of them was never more than an illusion anyways. Your world, the only one that matters, will be gone. And it will never come again. The extinction of all reality is a concept no resignation can encompass until annihilation comes. And all grand ideas are seen for what they are, and now I must go. I have calls to make, and then, if there is time, I will take a little nap." We are each our own universe, our own set of experiences, and with our own reality. When we're gone, so is that reality. Nobody paints it like Cormac did. So that's what I've been thinking about. Where's it at? I'm also going to end this with this zine that I picked up from Void Tokyo. Earlier this year I came across Void Tokyo, which is like a street photography collective in Tokyo. And there's a loose group of members. They have a website. I follow them on the Instagram. And they release zines yearly or every couple of years. And they released one, so I bought it. And it's freaking awesome. You know, every photographer gets a few pages. I'm not really going to show you a lot of these because that's not fair to these artists. I think follow Void Tokyo on Instagram if you're interested. Look at their website. Order the zine if you want it. This is a super high quality zine. Like it's thick paper stock. I'm just studying it. I'm not a street photography aficionado, but I keep looking at this and just looking at the way. I'll show you a couple of these. The images are juxtaposed and laid out, and some of them are full page, and then some of them are, you know, they're cropped in or they're inset. So there's some blank space. The blank space is all black, which is cool. Oh no, I guess not. This is white. So I am, if you've been watching the channel, if you're a diehard, you know I've been printing a lot of my work this year and starting to make my own personal little books. Next year, I'm definitely going to be producing my own zines, hopefully as high quality as this. What I make, they're not going to be bottom dollar. They're going to cost a little bit of money. This was, I think, around $30, $35. I can't even remember now, but it's very, very high quality. I don't feel like it's too much. Yeah, great, awesome, awesome. Came with like a little print and a postcard. Yeah, Void Tokyo really inspired me. I've been looking at it. I've been digesting it slowly. Sometimes when I'm eating my lunch or something, I'll just flip through it, or if I have a few free minutes, I'll just look at it a little differently. I'm going to be making zines next year, or this year. I guess by the time you see this, I'm recording this in 2025. I guess you're going to see it in 2026, but I'm going to be making some zines. I'm so pumped to do that. I don't even want to put my work online anymore. I just want it to be physical. I only want to make physical media anymore. I'm just like, it feels like to just like stick your work on a timeline and just have it just like swiped through and then it's gone and it's liked, it's tapped, it's gone. Like, who cares? I'm like, I don't want to be part of that anymore. It kind of grosses me out. Complicated. Thanks for watching, folks. This is some stuff that's inspired me. Get out there and make something. We'll see you soon.